And I just want to say that we're absolutely thrilled to have you all here for this kickoff of a very important discussion to be held this morning. The discussion on the Fulbright experience, reaching out to all people with disabilities.
And I think this is why it's so important for Gallaudet to have this relationship with Fulbright. Because just by being yourself, you know, the students, just by being your bright, charming, knowledgeable, human self, you show the rest of the world what we can all truly achieve, and that we are all truly better to have diversity of all sorts in our communities, and that everyone has worth, everyone can contribute something.
I was involved in a Fulbright program in Italy, working with the deaf and deafblind community there. Prior to my going to the community, there was no access for deaf children. Up until that point, I had been very involved in the deaf community here and deafblind community here in America, and I understood that there was a desire to have adequate services and access for deafblind individuals in other countries, looking for rights and access for interpreters and all sorts of things. So when I went over there, I was also preceded by Dr. Clayton Valley, who had been there previously to myself, and bringing back lots of information. A number of students have been in exchange programs with Roma Italy, where I was. So one thing of particular interest for me was when I came across a young deafblind child who was about 7 years old, who had no language whatsoever prior to my meeting this child. This child had been with the family for a number of years and had been isolated in a room all by themselves without any access to the outside world. Now, I had learned the sign language of Italy prior to my going there, so while I was learning this language, it's another language for me, I was also teaching this young deafblind child that I had met. I worked with this child for about 7 months, while at the same time working with deaf interpreters in that area, teaching them and training them how to become interpreters so that they could also provide access and services for other deafblind individuals in Roma, Italy. I was able to travel throughout the country and provide interpreter training, working with other deaf individuals, talking about deafblind individuals' rights and really advocating for the rights of deafblind people. So that was about 2003. It's been now 10 years, and I understand I'm still in touch with that family. They still are working with their child. The child has much more exposure and access now since my time being there, so it's been a wonderful experience.
I think Fulbright is the hallmark of exchange programs. Those people who enter the Fulbright pipeline really come out the other side having trampolined not just their personal development, but their career path, what they go on to do as leaders in their community, as a role model for others is remarkable. And that is why I'm so passionate about the Fulbright program, is because there are just not enough role models with disabilities out there in leadership positions. And I think Fulbright is one of the most point A to point B paths that you can take early on in your career, early on in your graduate education, to really make that happen.
We look at the American definitions of disability under ADA and 504 as our way of defining who is covered in the law. So if you have a learning disability, Fulbright's for you. If you have a psychiatric disability, Fulbright's for you. Please apply. We want you. We're going to learn from you. It will change your life. I also want to just thank the Fulbright Board for allowing us to have this event related to disability, again, for embracing this kind of diversity so very fully. Should folks have questions for us after this? Someone from State, remind me of the Fulbright Board's email address, please, for the public. Catherine or Alexis?
fsb@state.gov.
Okay. Frank Sierra, what is B? Bob at state.gov. So if you have questions or want to contact me or other members of the board and raise concerns, thank you, by the way, for raising what you did today. I'm so glad that you have mentioned those. Or if you want to praise Fulbright, because we know we do a wonderful job. We can always do better, but we do pretty darn good, and I'm pretty proud of us. Please email us. And thank you for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you abroad. Go apply.